Welcome back to one podcast, the podcast that doesn't shy away from uncomfortable, the controversial, and downright messy topics. All right, guys, buckle up, buckle up, because tonight we are going to dive into a topic that is going to make some people uncomfortable. And honestly, should be. I'm talking about the double standard around accents, double standard around accents. Why are some accents considered sexy or sophisticated, while others are like, other accents are mocked, ridiculed, talking about stigmatized, outrightly stigmatized. When you look at it, more importantly, why does no one want to admit that this is rooted in pretty ugly biases? It's rooted in biases. This evening, we're going to talk about accents, the double standard. Why are some accents considered sexy while others are stigmatized? Okay, welcome. Good evening. As usual, the number is going to be on the screen to join the program. There's a number on the screen +44 7449823876. If you want to leave your comment, just leave your comment on the comment section. If you want to call, there's a number to call. It's a WhatsApp number. Call us because I would like to hear your opinion. Okay. All right. Let's jump in straight away. What we're going to discuss this evening. Accents, the double standard. If you've been following us recently, you understand that we'll be discussing more about accents. We're talking about accents. Last week we talked about accents, how they affect children in school. Okay. So tonight is a little bit different. It's a little bit different because we're going into the deep, I'm talking about the deep rooted biases that is surrounding around accents. When it comes to accents, there are some accents that has been considered sexy and sophisticated, while there are some other accents that are ridiculed. When you speak, they laugh, they giggled. There are some accents that are being mocked, stigmatized. Why? We're going to look into it now. That's what we're going to talk about. Why is it that a French accent can make someone, sounds like as if maybe they're just coming out from a very romantic movie? Okay. Then when you step out of that romance movie, they speak, how is French accent being associated with romance, romantic? Hmm, that sounds sexy. Okay. Why some other accents like Indian accent is reduced to a call center? Whenever you see a call center, when you pick the call, what is an Indian? They're using that accent to refer to call center jokes. Indian accent being ridiculed to a call center joke. Okay. Then when you come to a British accent, see that people you know, being deliberately sophisticated. You see that sophistication, the accent, the verbs, the pronouns, sentence, tenses that are inside it, everybody. Okay. But when it comes to African accent, it get labeled as backward, labeled what as backward. word. Because when you look at it properly, it's not just about language. It has grown past that. It's not just about language. It's all about what? Power, privilege, and biases. We say that biases is there because many people that they're afraid to confront it. But we are going to talk about it. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but there are truths behind accent hierarchies. You can see that there are truths behind it. Accent, the double standard. Why are some accents considered sexy, while others are what? Stigmatized. Okay. When an English person speaks, they say that, what I mean, it's sophisticated. There are many schools around everywhere in Africa, many of countries, all that. If you cannot speak English, if you cannot speak English, they say that if you need to speak English eloquently, you need to because it's a sophisticated language. Do you understand? Then when you speak French, French is associated with sexy. It's a sexy language. Then when you come to other languages, other accents like Indian, when Indian person speak, is being associated with call center joke, call center. Then you come closer. An African person will just open their mouth to speak and being labeled backward. Being labeled what? Backward. Why? When you look at it, you see that most times a lot of people will pretend that it's not harmless. It's not. Because come on, man, you need to know how to speak English. You need to know how to didn't you go to school? You went to school to study. You went to school to learn English. You need to know how to speak. Do you understand that? It's there. Okay? But that stigmatized language, you see it being associated. You see that once you get that accent, you get that as African accent, or you get that Indian accent. Okay? So those people with those kind of stigmatized accent, they face discrimination in job interviews, in schools, even in social settings a lot. We discussed this here. We talked about it here severally. When you go to research, studies have shown that people unconsciously associate certain accent with what intelligence. We've said that many times. Even the lady that came here last week that was here with us, she was saying she I mean, she said a lot in that podcast. She analyzed it a lot in that podcast. What she went through when she came here newly as a kid. She was 10 years old when she left Nigeria to come to England. Okay. If you have not gone through that podcast, you just have to go and listen. Go to that podcast, listen to it. Listen, you will understand what we're trying to say. You understand? I said that studies have shown that people unconsciously associate certain accent with intelligence, competence, and even what trustworthiness. You understand? So once you open your mouth to speak, immediately they will associate that with what trustworthiness, especially trustworthiness. You will have an African accent. The places you come in to speak, they start looking at you somehow. They what I mean. The way, if for example, you go for shopping here, you go to the mall to buy some stuff. When you open your mouth to speak, the way they will look at you and the way they will like associate the accent with backwardness, you see that they will not trust you. Even you understand, forget about the skin of forget about your race or something like that. But just because of that accent, you will not be trusted. Why there are some other accents, once they open their mouth to speak, immediately that accent is really what? Associated with trustworthiness. Being associated with what? Sophistication. Do you understand? Intelligence, competence. If you want to like take it further, you understand that some of those accents, some of them, they will even associate it to wealth, whiteness, or you can say Western ideals. Do you understand? In Africa, even around you, where you that are watching me now, look at some of your friends. When they come out, speak eloquently. That's the way they will speak, open their mouth to speak English. They will say it's Queen's English. All right. Immediately they finish speaking, the way they speak will be associated with what? Competence and what? You can see that intelligence. When they finish, someone will ask, okay, are you a graduate? They say, now I did my master's. You did your master's. Where did you went to school? Where did you school? They will Cambridge. They'll start calling their name of their school and all that. Because those kind of accent is being associated with intelligence and competence. You understand? That's what we're trying to like talk about. And that's why the question came in. Why is what is it that some accent can be considered sexy while others are like, being stigmatized? If you look at it, because there's a double standard. If you go to some movies, even now, in some of African movies, we that came from Africa, we come from West Africa, Nigeria to be precise. You see some of Nigerian movies, call it Nollywood and all that. Some of them now, the accent, you need before you get some roads and all that, you can see that you need to polish your accent. You need to speak in certain tone. You need to speak in a certain way in order for you to excel. You understand what I mean? So that's the way it is. If you speak in certain tone, you're being associated or labeled sophisticated. You are sexy. You are intelligent. You are very, very trustworthy. Do you understand what I mean? Isn't that why there are some movies that you see that some of the people that being put in those kind of movies, some of the people that are they portrayed in those kind of movies, they will speak with an accent, an African tone, and some part of maybe the part of the role that they will play in those movies. You can see that it's either there will be a gate man, or there will be a driver, or there will be a maid in the house cooking, someone that clean the house or something like that. You understand? Label that they are not what? Intelligent. They are backward because of what? They cannot speak in certain way. Their accent and the way they pronounce things, I mean the pronunciation of words, all of that is being associated with backwardness. You understand? So if they cannot speak in certain tone, in those kind of tones that are being labeled intelligence, I'm talking about some accents, languages like English language, French, and some other languages. You understand? Especially those that are maybe you can say that they're in the Western world or the colonies. Do you understand? If you cannot speak in certain way, you cannot be labeled intelligence. So when you come down, you watch some of those movies, like I was telling you, if you go to Nollywood movies, just watch what I'm trying to like tell you now. Just watch it out. Observe. You will understand what I'm saying. Some of them that I see that speak in certain tone, speak in a tone that where they can say that they speak with Queen's English. They speak in English language, have the certain accent, and some of those accent is being associated with wealth. They're going to see that they're wealthy, they are rich, or their whiteness. You understand? Or sometimes you see that there is being associated with Western ideals. It's either this person comes from abroad, he coming from abroad with flashy cars and all that. The accent will change. The way they speak will change. And you see that once they like, talking, it's been associated with wealth, associated with what? Intelligence, associated with what? Trustworthiness, competence. That's the reason why you see that movies in African settings, they sometimes you see that the parents will send their son or their daughter abroad to go and study, having in mind maybe like with their intention would be like when they finish studying over there, they will come back because of what? They believe that over there, the accent, the knowledge, the exposure, and everything will change the way they reason to make them to be what? They will become intelligent and it will change the way they see life and all that. And once they come back, the first thing you will observe is the way they speak. The accent will change immediately. Do you know what I'm saying? And the same thing is happening to some of our kids, children, African kids. Some of them, you see that they go through movies, they're watching movies, they like, whether it's a laughing man mocking someone's accent or swimming over maybe romantically to a sexy foreign accent or that. You see that they'll be watching some movies and all that immediately. They will try to change their accent. They will start mimicking what they're seeing on the movies because their own accent, the way their parents maybe they speak and all that, doesn't sound sexy enough. It doesn't sound intelligent enough. It doesn't sound trustworthy enough. Do you understand what I mean? So with that, those kids, they will do what? They would like to speak in another different certain, you know what I mean? Differently. Those sexy accent, that's the way they will say. That's the way they will like, speak. Do you understand what I mean? I don't understand if you're following what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is that why is it that some accents are considered sexy, competent, intelligent? Why other accents are stigmatized? Some of them accent, like African accent, and then someone will say, okay, what do you mean by African accent? Africa has there's a lot of countries in Africa, a lot of different countries. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Each and each countries and all that, all of them, they have their own dialect because most of them don't really when they come out, they don't really speak their dialect. And even if they come out to speak their dialect in public, they cannot speak it because they don't want to be associated with backwardness, associated with someone that is not intelligent. And because of that, you see many of them, they're afraid. They even have, I'm talking about, they are ashamed to speak their language in public because they don't want to be labeled backwardness, labeled someone that is not intelligent. Sometimes they call you a fool. Sometimes they call you a person that is uneducated. You always speak your language. You always speak your mother tongue. Why can't you speak English? Didn't you go to school? Didn't you went to school? They will make you try to make humiliate you, make you feel that your language, your accent is not sexy enough, that you're not supposed to speak it in public. You understand what I mean? That's what I was trying to talk about. In the same way, you see that many homes, many African homes, even in the Western world, some of them, they are afraid even to speak their own language in their own home, in their own house, with their kids. They're afraid because they don't want to be mocked. They don't want their kids to look at them, to see them as if maybe they are aliens, something like that. Because this is what is raining in America now. If you cannot speak American, if you cannot speak American or something like that, you're an alien. As an immigrant, you're an alien. That's what I'm saying. So you don't want, to, they don't want their kids to see them as aliens. So they will avoid, they would even try to, anything that will make them to speak their dialect, their language with their own accent at home with their kids, they will avoid it. So they will speak, depends on the country, English language. That's what they speak. Because English language is being associated with what? Competence, associated with intelligence, associated with wealth. So if you can speak it properly, if you can speak it eloquently, that means you're learned, you're competent, you you're intelligent. Also, you're rich. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm going to? So that's the way it is. So your language, your with your accent, if you speak it, that means you're backward. You are not civilized. Actually, I can't. How is it that every time you're speaking your language, you're always speaking with your language with your tongue? Some ladies will not even allow to come close to you, let alone even give you the opportunity to speak. Some of those people I'm talking about is still the same people that you come from. All of you, you came from the same place, the same country. They understand what you are saying. They understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. They know the dialect. They know what you are saying. But they will not like to listen. They will not like to associate with you because you are backward. What you speak is not sexy enough. What you speak, language sounds poor. It shows that you are poor. It shows that you are not learned. It shows that you are not rich. Do you understand what I mean? It shows that you are not intelligent. Why is it that some accent has been associated with sexy? Do you understand what I mean? Why are some accent considered, even considered sexy, intelligent, while others are stigmatized? I mean, others have been labeled backward. That's all we're talking about this evening. Okay, so if you can put on the comment section if you know why, you can put on the comment section, or you can call me. The line is open. You call me. I would like to hear what you have to tell me. Why you want to tell me? I would like to hear the reason why some accents are being considered sexy, and some of them other accents being what stigmatized, have been labeled backward. So when you speak those kind of accent, when you speak with some certain accent, that means you are backward. You're not civilized. Okay? So let me know. As I'm waiting for your call, the comment, we'll crack on. We will crack on. Okay. Let's start with the so-called sexy accents. Some of them accents may be French, accent, eh, Italian, British is there already. These accents are what dripping with cultural fantasies. You see that a lot of people don't want to like emulate those kind of accents. Because when you look at it, let's be honest. Okay, we'll be honest with ourselves. Okay, it is not about the accent themselves. It's about the stereotype that is attached to those accents. It's not about the accent. It's the stereotype that is attached to those accents. Okay, take the French accent. Why is it considered sexy? Because we've been fed with what ideas? French people are inherently romantic, they are artistic, they are sophisticated. It's there. That's the idea. That's what they fed. If you go to movies and all that, they always act those romantic, sophisticated. You see their dressing, everything, the perfume, cologne, everything is French. The way they handle the glass of wine and all that is being associated with sophistication. Okay, where is it? I don't know. I don't know. What I'm trying to, I told you at the beginning, I said, what we discussed this evening might be a little bit uncomfortable. You understand? But we have to like go through it. We'll talk about it because we'll be discussing about accent. And if we don't discuss this, many will not really understand where we're coming from. Okay? When you look at stuff sophistication, when you look at that romantic and artistic nature of French accent, the way they've been associated with it, whenever I also want to speak that French accent, you say, c'est pas le français. It sounds sexy. You know those kind of languages. Okay? Because what you forget is that those fantasy is already been rooted in centuries of cultural what? Elitism. It's been rooted there. French, like Britain, was colonial power. They were colonial power. And their language and accent were what? Imposed on colonized people as a symbol of what? Superiority. They were colonial powers. They were there. They went came to Africa. They went to many places. They colonized a lot of countries. As they colonized the people, they impose those languages on most of those people as a symbol of superiority. You understand what I mean? It's there. You shouldn't forget that the British accent, how we love to, like a posh British voice, is there. Sat nav, tom tom. You can look at all of those things anywhere, most places, and when they're doing advert, all of that, you see those tone, the British husky tone they're using on that is is the accent of royalty, the Shakespeare. Do you understand? You look at this movie, Shalom. She's a Shalom Holmes kind of movies. Those you see that I don't know how to explain it. You understand? It's there. But when you look at it proper, when you analyze it, you see that it's been tied to British colonial past. It's been there. The British Empire. They spread their languages everywhere, culture across the globe, everywhere they went to. They just spread those languages. They imposed their languages on a lot of people. And that legacy still shape how we perceive accent till today. The legacy they left, how they went. They went to India, the same thing. They imposed the language on them. They come to Africa, impose language on them. There are many people, many kids, even the Gen Zs, most of them not even understand that English language is a borrowed language. It's an imposed language. And many of them don't really even know their own language. They don't. Even when their parents, if you go on TikTok, go to TikTok, you see what I'm talking about. Some of them kids, when the parents are trying to speak to them, sometimes they will speak with their own tone, with their own accent. The kids will say, Mom, Dad, what are you talking about? What are you saying? That is not how they speak. Can you speak this way? They will try to correct their parents. They speak. Why did they say, That's a sign of what? That accent is not sexy. It's not how it's being spoken. You're not supposed to speak it that way. Why? Because the way you're speaking means that you are not intelligent. You are not competent. You are backward. You shouldn't speak that way with that tone. Why? Because some certain accent are being perceived as sexy, being perceived as competent, being associated with wealth. It's been associated with what? I'm talking about intelligence, trustworthiness. Why some certain accent, when you speak, it shows that you are backward. That's what we're trying to say. And we're asking this question, why? Why is it that? Because when you romantized these accents, when you celebrate these accents, when you celebrate these sounds, you understand? When you mimic some of those sounds, you are celebrating the power structure behind them inside your mind, the same way you're celebrating that. Okay. And you see that many countries, especially in Africa, they're not moving forward because some of them have lost their identity. They lost their identity a long time ago. They don't even know what they represent. They can't even, they don't know they even what they want for themselves because they've left all their cultures, they left everything that they've been known or associated with. They don't have it. Many of them don't even know their own. They don't know what their language is anymore. That's what I mean. Think about countries like Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, all those countries. Once they come out, see a Nigerian, it's English straight away. They don't have their own language. They don't have it. Ghana, what is their language? They will tell you it's English. Cameroon, what's the language? It's French. Ivory Coast, what's the language? It's French. But they are in Africa. What is it? What am I trying to say? All of these countries are being associated with backwardness. When they come out to speak, you see an Ivory Coast person, they will try to speak French. And most times you see they will speak with their own accent and they will label them as backwardness, that they don't know what they're saying because it's not sexy enough. Same Nigerian will come out, you speak English, your English is not sexy enough because it has an accent. And it goes with stigmatization. It goes with that. You understand? Is all that's what I'm trying to say. And that's the reason why you see that the majority of families, some of the parents, you see that they spend a lot of money to send their kids to private school back in Africa, send them to private school. They pay a lot of money for them to have that sexy accent. They have a sexy accent. And some of those kids can't even speak their own language. They can't. They don't have to say, they don't even want to hear. To the extent that the parents rebook some of them, parents get upset when they try to speak their own language. When the kids were like some of them, they're speaking their language, they're speaking with their accent, parents they get upset, they get mad. What they will start asking questions. Why are we spending a lot of money to send it to private school? You're supposed to speak that sexy language. You're supposed to speak in a subtle accent, the sexy accent. Stay asking the question, why are some accent considered sexy while others are being stigmatized? Why? Put on the comment section. Let me know your thought. Let me know why. I would like to know why. Okay. Let's just look at those assets that get the short end of the stick. Those assets that always getting being stigmatized. Some of the accents that people giggle when they speak them. Okay. In for example, okay, Indian accent. You see Indian accent, some South American accent, some of them too. Okay. Then you come home, African accent, depending on the country. You understand? Because I label all the Africans. I just put it there together. African accent. These are accents that are they are mocked, stigmatized, and it was dismissed. Why? Because they are tied to marginalized group. It's been tied to marginalized group. It's been tied to backward group. It's been tied to what? Group that is not civilized. Group that when they talk about that certain group, they label them as third world. Okay? They label them as countries that are not like developed. Why? Because their accent is being tied to that stigmatization. Okay, take Indian accent for example. In Western media, it's often reduced to what? Caricature is there. The tech support guy is Indian. When you go to convenience store clerk, is Indian. The joke, when they're doing joke, you go to all those stand-up comedians, the punchline they all complete once they bring that punchline is Indian accent. But let's not forget, India was colonized by what? British 200 years ago. So the Indian accent is a product of what? That history, okay? Yet it's what it treated as what less than because they want them to speak that imposed language, which everybody look at as sexy, sexy language. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then when you come to certain American accent, maybe you talk of an African accent, something like that. Yeah. You know why? The stereotype that always been associated with that, uneducated, is backward, uneducated. Remember African come out speak with the accent straight away. What comes to your mind? Uneducated. It's backward. It's either maybe it comes from one local jungle like that. And then when you analyze it, you can see that the bias is deeply tied to classism. They just class you immediately and racism immediately, straight away, right? It's there. They forget the history. Then they will make you a scapegoat for prejudice straight immediately. You understand? It's always been tied to classism. You are not intelligent enough. You are not brilliant. You are not competent. Are you getting me? Then they will not go straight to the racism. They will just like try to, like sugarcoat it a little bit. You understand? What are we trying to talk about this evening? I said at the beginning when I started, and I said it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. But it's been a while. I want to talk about it, the accent, because it's not only the West, in the West, the Western world and all that. It's around us everywhere, even at home, workplace, in the meeting, gatherings, social gatherings, go out with your mates, friends, every day is there. These biases are harmless. They have what? Real consequences. People with stigmatized accent. I'm talking about people with those kind of accent, African accent, especially. I'm going to focus on that. Indian accent. They're being faced discrimination every day. I'm telling you, the workplace is there. In education, is there. I said about social settings. It's always there. They are told to neutralize their accent. You need to polish your accent. Why are you speaking? What is wrong with you? You need to speak in a certain way. You need to speak so that your accent will, you know what I mean, sound sexy. You need to speak so that your accent will sound professional. I think you've heard that several times. The muscle will tell you, come on, man, bring out your shoulder, put your shoulder up and speak with a tone so you can sound professional. Do you understand? In other words, they sound more like privileged groups who set the standard. You know those privileged group people that they set the standard for you. It's like that. You have to stand in a certain way. So they will put it in a way that you have to sound professional. So you have to speak in a certain way. And you see that if you cannot speak in that tone, right? You can't speak. You cannot. You cannot. You need to. Do you understand what I mean? And that's why most of us we can spend almost 16 to 17, almost sometimes 18,000 pounds to pay for a school fees, a tuition fee, to come to speak sexy language. Do you understand? You pay, you bring, count the money, 18,000 pounds. You count it and give it to a school so that you will come to Britain, come to England to come and speak sexy language with accent, good, sexy accent. Speak, you know, the language that is associated with competence. intelligence so that you become intelligent. Because before you pay that money, where you're coming from, you are not intelligent enough. You are backward. The way you used to speak, it's not good. It's not good. You're not supposed to speak in that way. You understand? So that's the reason why. Are you getting me? Yeah. Many times, even on this platform, will come out to talk on the comment section. Some people will come and try to humiliate themselves, not me. They will put it on the comment section. You need to speak this way, speak that, this, that. They're not telling me. I don't care. What I'm trying to say is that if you cannot understand what I'm saying, you change your channel, go somewhere else. If you're gonna understand, that is it. Then you listen to. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's like that. I go accent. My accent is shaped from where I was born, where I raised up, everything from where I come from, my culture, everything is being associated with the way I speak. Though parents send us to school to study, to learn how to speak sexy language. In most cases, sometimes some people they can they can imitate it, they can learn it, they can speak it fluently. While some others they can struggle or they might find it funny to adapt and just take and speak it. You understand? At the end of the day, does not mean that person is backward. Does not mean that that person is uneducated. Does not mean that that person is not intelligent. But the stigmatization, the stereotype, and the racism that is associated with it is there to the extent that once you open your mouth to speak, if you don't speak in a certain way, you'll be labeled as uneducated. You'll be labeled as backward, that you are not civilized. Do you know what I mean? We're asking the question again. Why are some accents considered sexy, intelligent? Why some are being stigmatized? Some are being labeled backward. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Our perceptions of accent are deeply hypnotized. I'm talking about hypocritically. It's been there. The perception of accent, the way we see accent, sometimes the hypocrisy there is so deep because many people they love to even like they try to imitate or fake accent because some accents are being tied to culture that we are maybe we've been taught in school to admire the movies. You need to admire those kind of accent. You need to see yourself or emulate those kind of accent. You understand? It's been there. But when it comes to accent that is being tied to those marginalized group. When I talk about marginalized group, I'm talking about Africa, South American, some Indians, and all that. You understand? That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You see that suddenly those appreciation for linguistic diversity is no more there. No, straight away. You understand what I mean? and everybody would try to pretend that they understand what trying to say. They will try to pretend that they have a preference. It's all about power. It's all about power. It's all about what? Like the control. It's all about that. It's all power and control. When someone when someone comes to your house and impose something on you. So let's just put it that you welcome someone to come to your house, and then the person comes to your house, you serve them food and everything, and the person will say to you, no, the food you serve is not sweet. This is not the right food. You need to cook it this way. Then they make you understand that the food you are eating is not right. But that is your cultural food that you need to eat that this one is the best one for you to eat. And from today onwards, you need to stop eating that one, the one you're eating, and you need to eat this one because this one is the right one. Because if you eat this one, when they see you eating it, it shows that you are not educated. It shows that you are backward. So because of that, you need to eat this kind of food. So as you're eating it, this is it. So they impose their food on you now. Then what happens? They've taken away your culture. They've taken away what your belief and everything because now they impose themselves on you. That is what we call power and control. They've controlled your mindset. They control everything about you. You understand? It's like that. I get me. We're asking why are some accents considered sexy while others are being stigmatized? Okay, let me read what something here. So what we are saying is correct. Nigeria accent in Western world is uneducated, undeveloped. But recently, when it comes to accent, Western world sees Nigeria as uncivilized, which is wrong. But many medical doctors in UK comes from Nigeria. You're right. You nailed it straight away. What is he trying to say? The same thing I've been saying here for a while. Accent, the double standard. And when they see most of many people, many Nigerians, you see that they label them, they they are not civilized, they are uneducated, many of them, because of what? The accent, the way we speak. Sometimes you say, instead of like, in order for them to like shush you, to like, put you in your place, say that you are too loud and all that. They cannot understand what you're saying. No, it's just what? Power and control. It's power and control. Okay? What can we do about it? What can we do about it? What I'm the way I see and what I'm gonna say here is that we need to confront our own biases. We need to confront it within ourselves. Forget about the Western world, forget about the colonies and all that. We need to confront our own biases. Do you understand? Me and you. Why do we find certain accents sexy and sophisticated? That's what we're going to ask ourselves. We're going to ask that question straight. Why do we dismiss others, our own accent, our own language, our own dialect as uneducated or hard to understand? Those are the questions we're going to ask ourselves. You see a Yoruba guy with another Yoruba guy. They speak in their own language. They're supposed to understand each other proper. But just because of that, bias, they would start like making you maybe. to feel that you are not sophisticated enough. You need to speak certain way. I said this. I said I'll make. I just give you guys a scenario. I use Nollywood, Nigerian Nollywood, as an example. If you go to Nigerian Nollywood, go and check some movies. Majority of them that are on the gate. I'm talking about gate men, drivers. Some of them they are cook, they are house help, maids, and all that. They speak in certain way. Yeah, that's what I mean. They speak in a certain way. That's the way they speak. And their tone, the accent is always what associated with someone that is uneducated, someone that is not civilized, someone that coming from maybe somewhere in the bush or one village or the other that didn't even go to school, someone that did not see the four walls of education, so four walls of the class, something like that. Because that's the way they see that. That's what they portray. Because those kind of accent is not sexy, it's not sophisticated, it's not civilized, it's not competent, it's not even associated with wealth. You understand? Then look about look at other ones that can speak sexy language. I'm talking about English language. They speak, you can say that they speak it eloquently. You can see some of them that speak French. You can see that, yeah, they bring all those stuff. They bring in there. They being what associated with what wealth, be associated with civilized. You know what I mean? Like they're competent, trustworthy, and everybody want to be like them. When they're coming out, they come out with flashy cars. And when they open their mouth to speak, they're so sophisticated. You understand? Because what they speak is labeled sexy, is a sexy language. You understand? But the other ones, when they try to speak, you see that they laugh at them, they shush them, they tell them to close their mouths. They will tell them that they will shoot. They don't worry. You see a rich guy will see a girl that he brought from the village. What do you normally see? The rich guy will go and pay for a tutor. A tutor will come and teach the village girl how to speak sexy language. Do you understand? That's the way it is. And with time, she'll start speaking sexy language. Why? Because of the mindset from the colonies, the mindset that you are you're not educated, you're not civilized. Why? Because most of them, many, they don't understand that they're doing controlled. And many don't understand that when someone imposes something on you to do, that person has power over you. You understand? And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Africa, majority countries in Africa, they don't have a language. They don't. They don't even know their culture. They don't even know where they stand. They don't even know where they belong. They don't have their own language. I give examples. Think about Ivory Coast. When you see Ivory Coast, what comes to your mind? It's the French country. When you see Cameroon, what comes to your mind? It's a French country. If you're not Nigerian, once you score about Nigeria, what do you see? English country. When you talk about Ghana, English country. Are they really English country? Is Nigeria English country? That's what I'm trying to say. And most of those countries, their language is not sexy, and it's not sexy enough. And that is the reason why they change their languages for them to speak sexy language. Do you understand? Okay. That's what I'm trying to say. Same thing. All right. All right. This is where I'm going to stop this evening. All right. If you're joining us, if you're coming across one for the first time, it's a platform where we discuss everyday family issues. We talk about family issues. We talk about relationships sometimes and all that. Okay. So this evening, we just continue on where we stopped the last time. Talked about accent and everything. And that's what we're discussing. And that's what we asked the question we asked this evening. Why are some accents considered sexy and others as being stigmatized? Understand? And these are the things we're supposed to know because majority, I said already, families, kids, many are afraid. Many people are afraid. Afraid. What I mean by afraid, they're even afraid to say where they come from because they don't really know who they are anymore. They don't know who they are anymore. Yeah, that's why I'm going to stop. I'll see you guys next week, Friday. Got that. So please share the program. Share the program. Contact. Um, if you are not, if you're not, if not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. We have a Facebook. Follow us on Facebook and also on TikTok. Understand? One on TikTok, one on Facebook. Until then, I'll see you guys next week Friday. Also, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. If you got any controversial topic that you want us to talk about, send it to us. Until next time, have a lovely weekend. God bless.